In terms of economic strategy, I think the government first needs to reiterate its strong commitment to nutrition. Nutrition isn't just a nice outcome to have. It's not even only a health and morbidity outcome. It's an economic outcome. We've seen evidence that shows for many countries that investments in nutrition programs generate returns of 16 to 1. So every peso invested in scaling up nutrition programs generates 16 over the life course of the young child. That 16 to 1 ratio is better than the Dow Jones Industrial Index return since I think in the last 80 years. So investing in nutrition is about human capital. It's about grey matter infrastructure, the infrastructure that's in our brains, and it's an economic investment. The second thing to think about in economic strategy is we desperately need broad-based growth. So growth has to reach the lowest income populations. It has to reach the rural areas, because this is where most malnutrition is, both in terms of undernutrition and in terms of things like obesity and diabetes. So these are my two messages on economics. Investing in nutrition is an economic strategy in itself. And then your economic strategy should be doing everything it can do to lift up those on the lowest incomes and in the rural areas. In terms of nutrition strategy, studies and analyses show that there is no single thing that's important for dealing with malnutrition. Malnutrition it happens because of powerful alliances between negative forces like poor food, poor water, poor sanitation, poor healthcare. These are the things that drive malnutrition. There's no one thing. So to overcome malnutrition, you need alliances of powerful positive factors. So the thing I would do is look in the health system and make sure that the essential nutrition services that are delivered through the health system have adequate coverage. Very often the coverage is very variable. Some programs are good, some programs are not good. So have a look at the coverage of all the essential nutrition programs that are delivered through the health system. In the food system space, focus relentlessly on the availability of micronutrients. So that means making sure that things like fortification and biofortification are available and accessible. They are very inexpensive, very high benefit cost ratios. Doesn't require any behavior change really. Farmers, consumers, low-income households are already consuming beans and maize and wheat and edible oil. So that's the second thing to do. The third thing to do is to support small and medium enterprises to get affordable food, nutritious food, fruits, vegetables, nuts, fish, poultry, beans, these kinds of foods. The foods that are being consumed too little by Colombians. Support small and medium enterprises, especially female-led enterprises, to get those foods to low-income consumers in wet markets at affordable prices. So support their ability to create business models to do that. And you can do that through a whole range of fiscal incentives. And then I would say the final thing to do is to really create the demand for nutritious foods. As a government, governments procure lots of food. They buy lots of food for your schools, for your health systems, for your social protection programs. So when the government buys food, make sure you buy the healthiest food your budgets will allow you to buy. When you're investing in agricultural research and development, don't only invest in your national agricultural systems in maize and wheat and rice. Invest in nutritious foods like fruits and vegetables and pulses. That's very important. And then finally, generate demand campaigns, behavior change campaigns that are really compelling, that really play on emotions. The private sector is brilliant at getting us to buy things we don't want and don't need, and they do it through aspiration and emotion. The public sector is very poor at getting us to change our behavior. The public sector's approach is, you really should consume this because it's healthy for you. Will any of you have teenagers know that this is not a very effective strategy? We have to make sure that the science, we're faithful to the science, but we also have to appeal to emotion, whether it's humor or sadness or aspiration, whatever it is. We need to somehow trigger emotion, trigger aspiration, trigger fantasy, but tie it very closely to science. We need to make healthy diets and healthy foods attractive and desirable, not just available and affordable. Thank you.